G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Chef Blake and this is episode 1 of Slow Cooked Secrets. For today's episode, I'm going to be making a Moroccan-inspired slow-cooked lamb tagine. And I'm going to be doing that with some couscous and some baby carrots. Slow cooking kind of got introduced as a convenience cooking method where you would basically wake up early in the morning, have everything ready, chuck it in, and then come home from work and have it all ready to go. So today's dish is going to be a little bit more involved than your regular slow cook. However, you will be able to just omit that whole process and throw it all in. But I'm going to put the dish together in such a way that it maximizes the flavor of all of the ingredients being used. I like to think that as a chef, that's part of my job. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Alright guys, so to put this slow cooked lamb dish together, we've got 3 main things to do. We need to cut our veggies, prepare our spices, and cut our lamb. So to start off with, I've got some onions, carrots, and fresh garlic here. I would call this like a medium dice. So just gonna do our carrots next. What I've done with this is I've left the skin on. The skin of the carrot contains a lot of the nutrients and we want to retain those. And I think it adds a good flavor as well. So just top and tail, and then half again, and we just want it to be a pretty similar size to the onion. So you want to, fucking hell, oh, why? Bloody onions. Whenever you're slow cooking vegetables, it's best to go a chunkier size because it's going to be cooking for quite a while. We don't want the vegetables to completely break down, that's what I'm trying to say. Last but not least for the vegetables, I've just got a couple of fresh garlic cloves here. So I'm just going to slice them nice and thin. If you want, you can mince them, but I don't mind my garlic being a little bit chunkier. Alright guys, so now that the veggies are done, I'm just going to move them over to the side and we're going to get started with our spices. So I've got some whole cardamom pods and some cinnamon and some black pepper. Just take your cardamom pods and you're going to need to pop them in your mortar and pestle. Cardamom has a very strong eucalyptus flavour to it. You can keep them whole if you like. I prefer to grind them up. So take your mortar and pestle and just give them a bash. You can leave the skins of the pods in there, they're not going to hurt anyone. So just put them in a bowl. And you can also choose how coarse or how fine you want your pepper when you do it manually. So that's another benefit to that. So again, just start by giving them a bit of a tap. You can start to grind them. Pretty much exactly what I'm after there. To finish our spice mix, I'm going to add some cumin, some paprika. I'll put a fair bit of that, probably at least 2 tablespoons of paprika, some ground coriander, probably about 1 teaspoon, and just take one of your cinnamon sticks and just put it in there like that. So that's your spice mix made, ready to go. So I've just got a lamb shoulder here that has been boned and rolled. The reason why I've done it that way is because I want to cut the lamb into large chunks. To prepare your lamb, just remove any of the butcher's twine. Turn it over. So it's important that we cut the lamb into equal sized pieces. That way they're all going to cook at the same rate. So just going to cut it into strips first. Don't worry about the fat, you can leave that on. It's just going to add flavour and it's going to cook down. Alright guys, so now that we've got all the prep done, we're going to head over to the stove and do a few things over there before throwing everything into the slow cooker to finish off for a couple of hours. I'm just going to add some oil to our pan, chopped onions, And I'm just gonna put a little bit of color on them. So I've just got this on a very high heat, chopped garlic. I've just got a pot on here on a low heat, and I'm just gonna add our spices. We just want to toast our spices for a couple of minutes, just until they become fragrant. Once we're here, I'm just going to add all the carrots. We don't need to cook them for very long, but I just want to toss them in the oil from the garlic and the onions, just to get all that flavour through. Make sure your spices are on a low heat and that you're constantly moving them around, because we want to get them nice and evenly toasted. Once the onions and the carrots are ready, I'm just going to put them straight into my slow cooker pot. Add a little bit more oil. Oh, that was a lot, but anyway. So as you can see, our spices are starting to smoke a little bit. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna add that to there now. Once your oil is up to temperature, just go in with probably about half of the lamb. You wanna fry off the lamb, so don't add too much at once. Otherwise, you're just going to lose all the heat from your pan. Now we're just searing the lamb off, so we don't need to cook it all the way through. We're just trying to get some colour on there, and that's going to help add a lot of flavour to the dish. Alright, so once you've tipped that out, just bring the oil back up to the heat. I had a little bit too much in there, so I've just tipped some of it off. And just go in with the rest of your lamb. Alright guys, so before the lamb goes into the slow cooker, I'm just going to add a tin of chickpeas that I've drained the juice of, 2 tins of diced tomatoes, tin of water, let's make that 1.5 tins. Just give it a good stir. Alright guys, so last but not least, we just need to put the insert back into the slow cooker. Put the lid on, and I'm going to be doing this one on high because I want it to be ready in about 3 to 4 hours. But if you're going to do this as an all-day cook, what you can do is put everything in raw as opposed to pre-cooking it like how I did, and then just put it on low and then walk away, and it will be perfectly fine for you to come back to after about 8 or 9 hours. So now all that's left to do is to wait.